Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be looking at some of the weapons of Hollowknight and how they relate to weapons in the real world. The only weapons that I could find that were based on human items were the nails, Hornet's needle, the Soul Warrior's pins, the Hive Knight's toothpick, and Tiso shield. It's not really said that these are all of the weapons though, so feel free to leave any weapons I missed in the comments for a possible part 2. Let's start with the nails. Nails are kind of weird in Hollowknight. If you don't get what I'm saying, here's a Hollowknight nail, and then here's a human nail. See the difference there? There's no handle on a human nail. This makes me believe that the Hollowknight nail might actually be a little bit more based on a rivet, and that the nailsmiths have just taken these rivets and flattened them to look more like our nails. Rivets look like this. Due to the large amount of these nails in Hallownest, it makes me think that there was probably a box of them left by Hallownest somewhere that were discovered and then forged into the sharp nails that we use in the game. We all know that pale ore is used to upgrade nails, but why that specific ore, and what is it? Let's start by figuring out what pale ore is. It seems that pale ore may be used as a plating or coating on things, and the metal that we use to coat and plate things is steel. Steel is mostly made of iron, so this makes me think that pale ore is in some way related to iron or steel. Okay, so our next weapon is the noodles. Needles. If you look closely at Hornet's nail, you can see that it's actually a sewing needle. She seems to attach her silk to the circular end of her needle in order to use it as a throwing dagger, scorpion style. In the Silk Song trailer, we can see that Hornet is able to use her needle and the thread on it to make music with it, but there's not much info about that, so I don't want to talk about that very much. I don't have much to say about this, except we probably will learn more about it after Silk Song is released. Okay, now we have the pins. Pins were used by the Soul Warriors in the Soul Sanctum. They appear to be long and narrow like fencing swords that were used by the French Knights, which makes me believe that the citizens of the Soul Sanctum take on a French-like culture. The Soul Warrior's description says that they are scholars, which means that they probably study a lot of elegant-based fencing and they use it in accordance with their soul magic. The Hive Knight holds this long stick with a point on each side. Reddit user DaLuckyCat interprets that as a toothpick, which makes sense. The way that the Hive Knight swings its weapon reminds me a lot of like a battle staff or maybe a baton. It could though be a pike or maybe just a longsword. Toothpick's long nature makes it good for distance-based attacks, but it would seem pretty breakable because of it being made out of wood compared to the metal weapons that everybody else wields. The fact that the only enemy I could find with this weapon was the Hive Knight makes me think that this is probably a rare weapon for the residents of Hallownest to master, or just hard to find in Hallownest. But we need to talk about the most dangerous weapon in Hollowknight, Tiso's shield. We didn't get much information about this, but what we do know is that Tiso calls it a shell. Looks like it could possibly be one side of a snail shell, which would actually make a lot of sense, because we could now see why the snail village wasn't implemented into the game. As to get the perfect size shell, Tiso might have committed mass genocide to get all of those snails dead and find the correct one for him. So his shield does this weird spinning maneuver, which he only refers to as his deadly surprise, and it might be controlled on the backside of his shield that he's able to let it rip Beyblade style. A lot of weapons in Hollowknight are based on human items, even though we all know that humans don't exist in the world of Hallownest. This might be because humans were once alive in the Hollowknight world, but whenever they disappeared, they left their small tools and stuff like that, and the bugs learned to repurpose that into their own weaponry. That was all of the weapons that I could find so far, but if you have any others that I missed, feel free to leave them in the comments. But before you go, I just want you to know that the only thing better than a Silk Song release date is your subscription to my YouTube channel.